Okay, here we are exploring channels again. I want to give you another idea on what's going on. I've already taken the steps to prepare another interesting texture, and I think that I've got a good idea on how I can illuminate channels for you. Channeling the spirits of Photoshop, man. Anyway, so as I stated in the earlier tutorial, I learned about the initial channel technique from John Selvia on his on lizardstomp.com when he was making textures for walls. He makes excellent chipped paint textures. His technique actually kind of tuned me into this idea. So we have our shape, we're in channel, and it's basically the same shape we used last time, and we're going to go ahead and Gaussian blur. I think I'll go with 7.4. That seems like a safe blur. And Control F until we get it to where we want, and that's about as much as 7.4 will give us. Then we want to think about brushes. Interesting brush shapes. This is a brush that I made, and it's just a bunch of squiggly lines. Look like some abstract of a mosquito. Hopefully not of the West Nile variety. And after having done this prior to redoing the tutorial, was thinking to myself, what else would be an interesting brush to work on. And I have a lot of brushes that I've made. And you need to think of this technique in channels as a embosser, because that's exactly what it is. It embosses, but it's controllable. So I've got another brush here. I want to make a nice bold black, just in case I feel like I need to blur it or whatever, and I might just go ahead and blur it once. That's a little bit too much. I'll back that off, and then I'll go ahead and recalibrate the Gaussian blur to 3.5. Looks pretty decent. Hit it with the plastic wrap. The reason I like plastic wrap is because it adds more weirdness to it. And here we go. Here's our weirdness. Plastic wrap. Ooh. Got my smoothness on 14, and it really comes out like a spider web type of thing. It's nice. I'm going to go ahead and max out all my settings here. I think I like that with this particular brush ensemble and the shading. And then we'll go over to our layer, select our layer, and this black is not right. Control I inverts the color. Lighting effects does nothing on black. It will not touch black. So we'll hit it with lighting effects. Seems like 25 is okay. And there we go. Now that is kind of a sexy texture. I mean, in a way. I mean, there's a lot of randomness to it. There's a lot of I don't know. There's some symmetry. There's some asymmetry. There's a lot of chaos going on. If we wanted to, we could develop that into a tile or a brick texture or something like that, or a broken road texture. It's just nice. And now that I have that established, I can go back into channels and blur it. And this time we could go for I don't know, something a little bit more rounding. And then we could come back on the filter, come back on the layer rather, come back on the filter. I probably should have made a new layer for this lighting effect so that I could have composed one and another layer of lighting, but just for express reasons I think I'll go about it this way. And we're still on alpha 1. I may want to bring up our other light. I've got 2 lights here. And see what that does. Darkens it up, makes it a little chromy. That's good. So there's multiple levels of channeling effects that you can do. You can go and make another layer and then illuminate from another standpoint of layering, and I mean it's free game. You duplicate the layer in the same spot. Once you move it, lighting effects wants to it doesn't want to recognize the movements you've made with the object, so you want to keep it in the same spot just to make it an efficient thing. And then you can come up with a really nice texture like this for some funky thing. And it's pretty much like I said in the other videos, it's open season. You can do anything. It's an incredible doorway to embossing texture, and even create gradients, utilizing gradients, light, directed light, etc., etc., etc. It's an excellent. I personally, just having discovered what I can do with this on a few pieces, am actually very happy that I've wandered into it, and I think you will be too.